Hi, welcome to Carnival Africa. My name is Innocent.
Do you want to make it to 90 years of age without any major health problems? If so, then follow these simple tips.
Today, I'm going to react to some dietary tips given by one of the doctors in Uganda, Dr. Garvin. And in this video, I am talking about what the medical system teaches, all the principles, all the theories which need to be revised within the medical system. I'm not attacking Dr. Garvin at all. Actually, I think that he's an incredible doctor. I think that he's on the way to help his clients and Ugandans. And it is just my hope that through this and so many other channels which will come up, the medical system is going to revise on the things which it has been doing, and some of them will change for the better of the patients. About 12,000 years ago, people were hunter-gatherers. They never used to do agriculture. After the agricultural revolution, that's when people started getting diseases. All plants that we eat contain natural defense chemicals such as phytates in maize, gluteins in wheat, saponins in soybeans, caffeine in coffee, oxalates in spinach, cyanides in cassava, solanides in Irish potatoes, tannins in tea, coumarins in cinnamon, lectins in beans, and many more. All these have ability to harm human health, though some nutritionists and doctors downplay their effects. Through selective breeding and genetic modification, the plants we eat have been transformed to what they look like today. The carbohydrates you see today were all wild plants, and their original form is nothing compared to what they look like today. In my view, plants are good for medicine, but not good for food. Medicine is only good when taken for a short time. The medical system is only addressing symptoms of diseases other than the cause for the most part. For example, feeding a decayed tooth or taking metformin is treating symptoms, while eliminating the carbohydrates in the first place removes the cause. Carbohydrates are not the proper food for humans, and a lot has to be done to them to make them safe for human consumption before eating them. Above all, adopting the ancestral way of eating is the only sure step in eliminating these medical conditions.
From now onwards, our diet is going to be predominantly lean proteins, vegetables, and then fruits, then maybe a low-calorie drink like water. So when we're talking about lean proteins, we're talking about things like meat, fish, chicken, eggs, milk, but with no fats. If you can get milk that has been skimmed where they have removed that cream, it has no fat at all, then it is even better.
Taking milk without fats. Milk, whether with fat or not, is a slippery slope for adults, especially when you want to lose weight or when you are no longer increasing in height. Milk, including fermented milk, contain whey, which raises insulin. As for A1 milk from Frisians, nobody should be drinking this milk. A2 milk from goats, from local cows, from Jersey cows may be okay in small quantities, say 100 ml and below per day, and when taken raw, not pasteurized, not boiled.
Then when it comes to the green vegetables, you know the normal ones, the dodo, booga, those things, cabbages and all that stuff.
It is very important to ferment vegetables before we eat them. But even then, some of the vegetables such as spinach will still remain dangerous even when fermented, which contains oxalates.
But here, you should only eat it as a full fruit or as a smoothie, when you put it in a blender. If you make juice out of it, then it is not very good.
Eat your fruit as a whole. My advice is to eat non-sweet fruits such as avocados to avoid fructose, while at the same time you're getting vitamin C. Vitamin C is good, but fructose from the sweet fruits is not good for your body. It's not good for your health. Juicing will break the fiber and expose you to excessive fructose. This will give you fatty liver disease. So do not take fruit juices. Just eat your fruit as a whole, and I advise you not to eat sweet fruits.
But in case one is to eat some, you should always avoid the processed ones. Anything that has been through a factory, avoid them. So things like the flour, the wheat flour, the posho, the millet flour, anything in flour form that has been to a factory. Also, anything that has been packaged, like the crisps, the biscuits, anything of that sort. In case you are to eat some sugary food, go for the totally natural one. Something you've gotten directly from your garden, like the matoke, the potatoes, the yams, something like that. But also they should be in a very small amount, only a quarter of the total plate of food that you are eating.
It is true, and I agree. Avoid anything refined. But on top of that, if you're going to eat whole carbohydrates, then ferment them. Ferment the natural carbohydrates, for example, whole cassava, whole Irish potatoes, whole matoke, whole yams, whole sweet potatoes, and also the legumes. Legumes like the beans, like the peas, like the groundnuts. All those ones need to be fermented because they contain carbohydrates.
I'm not a big fan of carbohydrate foods, the starch foods, the sugary foods.
The good doctor says that he's not a fan of carbohydrates, but he doesn't tell us what he eats as a source of energy. I think that will be good for his clients so that they can follow in his footsteps, so that they can do what he does, because he has knowledge that his patients don't necessarily have.
And lastly, when it comes to cooking oil, we are only going to go for avocado oil and olive oil, and specifically the extra virgin ones, the unprocessed ones, cold pressed. These are the normal cooking oils on the market, the seed oils that have been processed.
Olive oil and avocado oil, they will lower the human cholesterol, and that is actually a bad thing, because cholesterol is a molecule of life, unlike what the medical system teaches. Most olive oils in the stores have been adulterated, and avocado oil is in extremely very short supply. But anyhow, these two contain plant cholesterol, which is not good for us. We shall see more about this. The seed oils, or what we call vegetable oils, are bad. And by the way, there is nothing vegetable about vegetable oils. These are just got from seeds. By heating seeds and taking them through very strenuous, unthinkable, unbelievable processes. Number one, these seed oils displace cholesterol from the cell membrane, and they occupy it with something called the phytolesterols, which do not work the same way as the normal cholesterol. This is how vegetable oils reduce cholesterol from your body. Phytolesterols have toxic effects on the body. Number two, they are easily oxidized, causing a rusting, destructive effect on the body cells.
I got an invitation from some friends of mine for lunch. They're a couple, but I noticed that all their meals, they were frying them with animal fat. Like the ghee, the lard, the tallow. Avoid them totally.
Animal fat is okay, and I advise you to use cow ghee, pork fat, beef tallow, and butter without any fear.
Now, in their defense, their doctor told them that this animal fat is the healthy one, that the seed oils, the ones we buy, are very unhealthy. Now, this is not accurate. This animal fat, something like the tallow, this one comes from, I think, beef and mutton. Then there's one that comes from pork, the one they call lard. They're very unhealthy. These things will clog your heart.
They are the only ones that are homologous to our body tissues. Our bodies understand and work with them way better than the plant oils and the seed oils. Problems come when you eat them alongside a lot of carbohydrates, because under insulin, the body will store them other than burning them. The fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamin A, vitamin D3, vitamin E, vitamin K2 are got from animal fat, and these are very, very important. Where else can we get them from? We can't get them from olive oil, we cannot get them from avocado oil, we cannot get them from anywhere else. They are only in the animal animal fat, and these are very, very important nutrients. Animal fat is ketogenic. Using ketones for energy is the beginning of health miracles. Under ketosis, the body heals even without medicine. The process is called autophagy. Consider ketones to be clean energy such as electricity and glucose as the emissions producing energy such as diesel. I have realized that most doctors in Uganda, and even dietitians by the way, wrongly associate ketosis with ketoacidosis, and these two are different. Ketoacidosis only happens in type 1 diabetics. Ketoacidosis has, however, been named in type 2 diabetics using ketogenic diets while also taking medicines which are called the SGLT2 inhibitors. And now these are drugs which are ending with the suffix liflozine. For example, dapagliflozin, etc. Generally, ketoacidosis will not happen in people who are not type 1 diabetics.
They have a lot of cholesterol and they will increase your LDL, the bad cholesterol transporter in your blood, and they will clog your heart and you'll get heart attacks and things like that.
Cholesterol is a molecule of life. It is in the brain, in the nervous system, in hormone producing glands, in the liver, in the skin, in the red blood cells, and so on. The outer wall of your cells, which is called the cell membrane, is made of cholesterol, and cholesterol is what gives it stability, flexibility, and the fluid movement. What is bad is high triglycerides, and they are not formed by animal-based foods, but rather by things like carbohydrates and alcohol. If you must eat carbohydrates, they must be 100 grams and below within a single day. And roughly, that is the size of one small Irish potatoes or so within 24 hours. And you might be surprised, this explains why we should use animal fat rather than carbohydrates for our energy needs. Conclusion. This is an extremely important principle. As long as one is consuming carbohydrates, glucose and insulin will remain high. As long as insulin is high, and as a rule of thumb, the body will remain in fat storage mode and will not burn fat for energy. Similarly, when insulin is low, the body will burn fat like gangbusters, and nothing will stop it from doing so. Generally, medical dietary tips are very good for someone who relies on carbohydrates for his source of energy, but will not necessarily help one to thrive in health matters. If it were in terms of prisoners, medical advice will set free prisoners from the prison cells, but will keep them within the enclosure of the prison perimeter walls. Total health freedom will involve completely changing someone's food. The medical system is treating symptoms other than the root cause. The root cause is a leaky gut. Leaky gut is caused by harmful stuff which we introduce into our digestive system. The short-term management of acute conditions involve medicines, but long-term demands elimination of those agents and eat the proper human food. Understanding how insulin works will determine the way forward on the outcomes of food metabolism. All refined carbohydrates will raise insulin by very high degree. In simple terms, here refined means the flour version of any carbohydrate. Whole carbohydrates will raise insulin to a high degree as well. The more carbohydrates you eat, the more the hunger you will feel when the sugar from the carbohydrates, which is the glucose, is finally removed from circulation by insulin. Hunger always wins. Only meat and animal fat will completely take away hunger, even for days without food. High insulin in circulation in itself over a long time causes diseases. Also, the presence of high glucose in blood causes diseases. Patients with chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes or hypertension can put their conditions into remission when they adopt ketogenic or the carnivore diets, they need weaning off their medications with help of their doctors. Good physicians such as Dr. Gavin, who have a heart of teaching their clients, are in a perfect position to help their patients reverse chronic diseases. My prayer is for them to adopt these life-changing concepts which go beyond medical training so as to give their best to the patients. Thank you.